Hey everybody, how you doing? I'm not sure if the sound's going to be on today. We're just going to double check. Let me see. Let me know if the sound is good. I'm going to turn on the fan while that's happening. Good, good. So, hey Roy, how you doing? How's everybody? So it looks like we have the sound going. Let's see. Everything looks good. What do you guys say? Okay, so we got our pastels, and I'm going to get some packing peanuts. So I did not have time to go ahead, guys, and start the next airbrush. That will come next week. So I thought we have an added treat and work on the pastel painting in the interim. So that is really good. So let me see who we have. Willie, how you doing? All the way from Massachusetts. And we have Jesus. Good to see you, Jesus. And then Jesus is from Georgia. We have Steve Leahy, born out in Massachusetts, living in Wisconsin or Ohio. We have Total Pain, upstate New York. Good to see you, John. And we have Roy, Color Graphics from New Jersey, hailing from New Jersey, from the Baltimore area. And then we have Paul, Indiana guy, you know, go Hoosiers and all that stuff. So that's really neat. Let me see if I can get my reference. Okay, it'll just be one quick moment. Let me see. Where is she? Here she is. Cool. Okay, so I have my reference to work from. So I am happy. So that is good. And nameless subscriber, how's it going from California? Good to see you. I'm so glad you're here. That is so great. And so let's see. So we're getting smooth picture quality. Everything like that looks pretty good. So that's fantastic. And let me just go ahead and make this a little more clear there. And so the first thing we're going to do is we're going to just start working. So let's see. Of course I remembered Nameless, definitely. Jesus says Paul just got, oh yes, yes, Mr. Jesus just got his new Extreme Patriot. So how exciting is that? So that, it makes me happy. So that is very, very cool. And I'm just going to put my pastels over here. Get my other pastel pencils over here. So we're basically just working in pastel pencils. Nothing else, no Rembrandts or anything. Just the pastel pencils. That's all we're working on today, which is pretty cool. And so let's go ahead and just see what I want to do. There's a beautiful orangey color right over here, and I want to go ahead and put that in. So I'm going to look here for that really nice kind of orange, you know, like the oranges we eat. So let's see what we have here. Just going to put that right there like so. Just put that there. Okay, great. And move this over to the side. So today I'm actually going to show like some brush work that we can do with this, which is very good. Hey Paul, thank you my friend. I really appreciate that with this super sticker. I really, really, really appreciate that, sir. I just want to thank you. And stuff like that is so encouraging, I'll tell you. It really, really gets me excited, you know? And lets me know I'm doing the right thing, you know? That, you know, you guys appreciate it and need it. Hey Blue, how you doing? Thank you so much. I appreciate that. Thank you. You know, your support really does help this channel to continue and to, you know, in those moments when, you know, I'm not sure if I can continue this, stuff like this happens and really just lets me know that that it's going to be okay, you know, that we're going to make it and this channel is going to grow and we're going to continue be able to give give classes that are inexpensive, right? That are inexpensive, that creates continuity in your work, right? And that's what we need. We need that continuity in the work, you know. Now I feel like because I can't remember what state I'm in. Oh, I'm in Jersey. But yes, the Empire State Building is right out my window. That's so true. Yeah, I'm in Jersey, my friend. And so thank you, Blue. I really appreciate you. And thank you, John. You guys are great. Steve, thank you. I appreciate it. Thank you, Steve. And Paul and Blue and Steve, you guys are doing really great things. I mean, you're really encouraging me today. And, you know, it's great because encouragement always comes at the right time. And it really is. So thank you so much, Steve. I appreciate it. Coming from you is amazing. And I really appreciate your encouragement. And let's see. I think I seen somebody just come into the room. Hey, John F, how you doing? Good to see you. So glad you're here. So John F, where are you from? I always like to know where my peeps are from, you know. So that's important. So with this orange, I'm just coming in. I'm just going to make sure that I have the colors correct. Let me just come here and go into effects, and let's see if I can make the colors a little better here. Just a little better. Let's see, color and light. So I'm going to change the color balance. There we go. I think that's a little closer to what I'm looking at here. Let me see the skin tone. Ooh, no, that's not good. And then we'll come here to saturation. And okay, I like the saturation better there. And let's see, contrast. Let's go with contrast. And let's increase this contrast here. Great. A little too yellow, right? Let's go into color once more. And let's add some red. And there we go. That's pretty close to what I have. Okay, so let's do that. That sounds good. Okay, so we're going to continue with this orange here. And we're going to bring this down, which is good. Oh, John is in, oh, he's stuck in Texas, by the way, of California. Okay, so you're from Cali. Fantastic. And Blue, of course, is from Long Island, the east end of Long Island. Actually, the west end. The east end is down by the Hamptons. So Blue is down by Rockville Center. There we go. And so just coming in with this orange, I think this is, so I have the airbrush with the detail mixture. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to come over here and see if I could, well, let me get my glasses for this, right? I only need it for like detail. Where are my glasses? Remember, they're invisible because you can see through them. And let me see, come over here. And always remember, if you can't find it, it's underneath something or behind something. So I will find them, but I need my glasses to find my glasses. Let's see. All right. Let's try this without the glasses. Okay, so what I'm doing is, you see, I'm coming in with the detail mixture. Now you have to watch out, and that's easy to fix with pastel. So let me see. So you see how that happened with pastel? But watch how easy this is to fix in pastel. You just go right over it as if it never happened, which is really great. And we'll come over here. We'll come in with this lighter color. Then this sort of terracotta type of color here. And then with this kind of Naples yellow right here. And you can see I can just continue down that vein of attack here. Hey Letitia, how you doing? Great to see you. How are you? Oh, that's so great to see you. Thank you so much for hanging out. I know, it was by my desk and it's not there now, and that is so disheartening. And I might have brought it into the other room, but I don't know. Let's see. Let's see. Okay, so I'm just going to, so bear with me everybody, I'm just going to go get my glasses because I do need these glasses. Oh, nope, those are wrong glasses. Okay, and let's see, be right back. So they were in the bathroom. I have no idea why they were there. Okay, so the cat had them. If she could, hey, Mr. Anderson, great to see you. So glad you're here. Thank you so much for hanging out. And let's see. Okay, so we were going into, I'm going to lower the air pressure because we have to, it's not like working with paper. This is a little bit different. So I'm going to lower that air pressure super. And let me just get a little control here. Okay. Go a little bit more. Now I'm getting wicked overspray here, so I'm not sure what is going on, but we'll work through it. So I think I just have to be a little further away, and I think I could get away with that. So let's zoom in. So a little bit of overspray, but we can definitely fix that later. And you see how we can use the airbrush along with the pastel. And now I need that sort of light yellow color. And let's see, where is that? Here it is. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to lightly get rid of the overspray. And then I'm going to come back in with this Indian yellow color. And let's see if we can continue this. So I have to be very patient. And this is the detail mixture. Very, very patient. And let's move on over to her eyebrow here. And I'm going to see what kind of detail I can do, right? Oh, so glad you're here. No, I'm so excited. Hey, Todd, how you doing? Good to see you. So glad you're here. Always blame the cat. That's true, Willie. That is true. And Nameless says that, Tim, why do the edges look so blocked like it was stenciled? It was the way that I did this painting, the early part of this painting, like 2 years ago. So my method was more using Frisket. I don't use Frisket anymore. So that's why it has that look, you know. But it's definitely different than how I approach it now. But I thought this piece would be perfect. So you see how I'm using the airbrush to kind of bring in the shape of that eyebrow, of her eyebrow. And you have to be very careful that you don't oversaturate it with this. What's really cool is I can put in this value and then I can come back later and go over it in pastel. See how I can darken this here underneath her eye? You know what it is? Also, my compressor's off. Oh, so Jesus wants to know why I don't use Yupo paper. And so basically, you know, I like to feel when I'm working on paper. I just like the feel of paper. And for me, the Yupo paper is, I know a lot of people do great things, such, you know, people like Steve Leahy and Drew Blair and Marissa. They do amazing things with Yupo paper, and I appreciate it. But for me, it just feels alien to me, and that's why I don't like it. But that's a personal thing, right? That's really just my own personal thing. You know, you know, as much as I want to be more of a modern painter, I'm very traditional in my approach, and that comes from my, you know, my art education. And so, you know, it has to have certain criteria for me to like a paper. Some of the things that I really like is the fact that, you know, it's archival and it's, you know, just a traditional paper, you know. I like the pound, you know, I like a very thick, like 184 pound paper. I do like Bristol board. It's kind of as slick as I get, so that's probably what I would probably most likely do is, so you can see here, everybody, how I'm using the airbrush to actually work on some of the values, and then I'm going to come back in with pastel, which is great. So basically it's like reading the paper news versus in a tablet. Yeah, plus the thing is, you know, it's really important. One of the things that was really drilled into me is archival quality, you know, things being light fast and acid free, all those different things, and you know, just traditional paper, you know, knowing what it's going to do. I think anything that is a new art supply is always subject to, well, I didn't know it was going to do that in 30 years or 40 years, because although they could say it, certain papers haven't been around that long, so there's really no, hey, what's up, Mr. Kennedy? There's really no way of knowing, you know, no way of knowing what it's going to do. So, you know, that's basically it in a nutshell. But for me, you know, it's just my preference and my upbringing, so to speak, for better or for worse. And I'm going to come in with the dark underneath her chin. There we go. So it's really beautiful that we could use the airbrush and pastel together. And that's basically what all this is building up when people study with me. It's to work in black and white so you can effectively work in color, which is really good, you know? Oh, so Bill's not a fan of Yupo. Okay, I can appreciate that. Okay. So, let's go ahead and use our packing peanuts, right? And let's see if we can blend this over here. See that? We can blend this shadow. Really cool. And then we'll just get this color here. This color right here is black, and we don't want black. This color right here is 1121-280. And we're just going to bring this over. So Bill says it's too easy to damage the paper, and Scott Anderson says he took a sleep study and the post-study questionnaire asked if he slept well, and if not, explain why, and he simply answered no, and I don't know. You tell me that's why that's true. Yeah, they're asking you how you slept. They're the ones that were there, right? That's funny. And let's say if we can, so you can twist this paper here, which is really good. And then you can shape it with the kneaded eraser. See that? How I can shape that? And then you can even give a negative space right here. See that? See how cool that is? Now, but sometimes you just want to go ahead and just have good old-fashioned paint, right? And what I can do I can take, let me find a good color here. We have Van Dyke Brown, Raw Umber. Let's get a little bit of Raw Umber here. I'm going to take a little bit of Raw Umber. This is all experimenting, so we're experimenting together. I'm going to put a little bit of Raw Umber in here. And some water. And a bug. No, no bug. And a paintbrush. And we're going to do some experimenting. What's the worst that could happen, right? So I'm putting a lot of water on here. Let's see what happens. Okay. So, as you can see, this works really well. Anything goes, I think. Whatever gets your artwork where you want it to be. Sometimes it's okay to use the pencil, right? There's no points in doing everything by airbrush, paintbrush, or pastel. Sometimes you just have to use the pencil, right? So I'm going to come over here. Come over here like this. Bring it down. See that? So this is golden burnt umber. Actually, raw umber, forgive me. Your friend and mine, golden raw umber, mixed with lots of water. And you see it works really well. And then we can go over this with pastel. Hey, that rhymes. It works really well. And then you can go over this with pastel. Kind of like it. Okay, now here again, let's do this with the pencil first. Bring this up like this. See how this makes this left turn, and you see how this one kind of goes up like this and disappears. Great. And now we can just come over here. 1 second rule, guys. Always, always. 1 second rule is always in effect. Yes, definitely. This will definitely be smoothed over. And so that's very hard edged, as you can see. That was actually done with Frisket back when I used to work with Frisket. That was when I was a kid. Nope, that was only 2 years ago. But I feel like that was that long ago. Starting looking like Katya. See, there's some other really cool little hairs here. So I want to water it down just a bit more, a tad bit more, right? Patty, how are you? Good to see you, Patty. I know you were driving during a storm. How are you? How did that go? Okay, you made it home without any problems? Patty does these great She paints models and model trains and everything. They're just amazing. She does everything. Ah, Jesus, have a great night, my friend. Take care. Say hi to Sergio for me. And your daughter, congratulations for making the high school softball team. I am so excited for her. Just a shout out and tell her, this is just the beginning. She's going to do great things with that team. So I'm excited. Okay. So right here we have some really nice lines here. So I'm just going to bring this down right over here. The 1 to 5/10 second rule. That's pretty funny, Nameless. This goes here, and then we'll bring this down here like that. Okay, let's make this happen, everybody. And of course we'll lighten things up, but here we're establishing our edges. And of course we have to work with this texture, right? This paper has texture, this board, so we have to work with that. Bill has a 1 week rule. Paint a bit, go away, forget to clean your airbrushes. Oh no. That's a painful rule. Don't do in pastel with airbrush what you can do with a paintbrush best. It's just this like weird bravado. You don't really want to, you don't want anything like that to hold you back. And this is just establishing the hair. It's not anything that you really have to develop just yet. You're just kind of making these hairs, right? And so you're sort of going very slow. Hey Brad, how you doing? Great to see you, sir. So glad you're here, my friend. All the way from Manitoba. And I know, Bill, you're in Tennessee, in the Nashville area. Am I correct? Okay. And we can always revisit the hair, of course. Here. Oh, great. In Nashville. That's cool. Music City, right? Are you there because do you like the music? Did you move there? Was it your job that took you there once upon a time? There we go. Uh, oh, so you're already in Middle Tennessee and wanted to get away from, oh, from your ex and took a job for more money. Okay. Hey, that's good. I'm glad. I'm glad it worked out. You have a beautiful new wife now, and everything is great. You're a full-time painter. I think that's wonderful. Uh, yes, Willie, Nashville does seem cool. And airspace, you're letting money work. That's what Nameless said. And great. So one of the things that you see whenever I'm using a brush technique, I always use a dry brush. So what I'll do is I'll get rid of the excess moisture here, so it's a lot drier, a lot less moisture. And what that does is basically will give you more control of the brush. We're just going to work on this edge here. And a little moisture here. Get that up. And we'll work on this edge here. And then right here, if you look, we'll zoom in, and you can see right over here that the initial frisket missed. So this is good. We can actually go ahead and hit this pretty nicely and make that all better, and zoom out, and you can see we fixed that. And now that we have this brush, we can come in with that raw umber color, and I'm going to zoom in to her eyebrow, and we're just going to give this a little more depth. Nothing crazy, just wherever I see a little more hard edged, I'll come in. Same thing here. We'll just shape this eye a little better. Go. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and clean this brush, and then we're going to do more pastel. So Saturdays are still going to be our pastel workshop. You know, our pastel live stream, but today I didn't have my regular airbrush painting ready, so that will be next week, next Wednesday, which is good. And let's zoom out. Okay, so there we are. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to get my packing peanuts again, and we'll just start blending this in. Little circular movements, and you'll see they do wonders. Little tiny circular movements. And I'll just come over here. Oh, Blue says this is looking really good. Do you ever worry about different pigment issues when you revisit an older piece? Oh, you mean like from working on it and then stop and go back? Not too much. I pretty much just, but what's interesting is that you say that, you know, where I am color-wise is a lot different than where I would be let's say 2 years from now and where I was 2 years ago. So it is interesting how we'll look at a subject a lot different in 2 years. But I don't worry about it because it's a good thing. Wherever you are, you just embrace where you are artistically and you go with it. So that's really important. So as you can see, we're going to come in more with that beautiful orangey color over here. We're just going to bring that in like so. Now there's two ways you can do it. You can just go ahead and blend that in, or you could sort of blend it with the pastel and then work it that way. So there's a lot of ways. There's a lot of different approaches that are just as valid, right? And that's the thing, Blue, when we like just from one year to the next, we're definitely going to approach things differently because we're different people from one year to the next. So here's something very fascinating. I forget where I learned this from, but in 10 years time that all our skin and everything in our cells have regenerated. So in 10 years, we're not the same person, literally. We're not the same person chemically because everything had been shed. The old cells, the old cells in our body, blood cells, skin cells. It's just really fascinating. So like in 10 years, according to that, we're actually different people. So I thought that was really weird. I'm glad that you can get work. That's amazing, Bill. So I'm so happy. So that's a big plus. Now Scott says he can't believe how real your paintings look. Scott, are you talking about my paintings? If you are, thank you. If you're talking about someone else's, that's cool too. I think you might be talking about Bill Kennedy's. So that's cool. We're just going to continue with this beautiful orange color. Just bring this over. Now, as far as assimilating those this hair here, let's give that a shot, okay? So right here, you can see we can come in with a lighter color. And so it's going to be a combination of these two colors here. And we're going to bring that down. Like I always say, I've been doing pastels longer than I want to admit because I'm old, but a long time. Now, interesting enough, I have not used pastel pencils except for little spots here and there. So still I'm doing something outside the box. Let's go with that really light yellow here. I'm just going to soften this edge here. So there's a lot of different ways you can soften edges, and here's one way. I'll zoom in for you. So what we could do is we can use the color that's right next to the hair. See how hard edged that is? And we can just do little circular motions right over that hair, and that would actually soften it. So once again, we'll just go right at the edge, sort of obliterate that edge, right? And so let's do that. Just sort of, we have a long way. It's a marathon, it's not a sprint. So we have a long way to get there. Blue, thank you so much for the super sticker. I really appreciate it. I hope you have a great night, and don't work so hard, okay? And Nameless says sometimes he struggles with a project. He put it down a few years later, picks it up. It's a breeze. Yeah, you're a different artist from one moment to the next. Definitely. Now here I can show you how we can come back in with that detail mixture. And I could just very slowly just darken this area right here. And that's another way to soften things up. Now this surface right here, if I zoom out, this surface is my masonite and marble dust mixture, and it's really great because you have this really nice skin texture, which I love. And then I'm just going to just blend this a little bit. And then we can go ahead and put some shadow in here. Now the trick with this, just like when you're seeing my airbrush paintings, is not to get ahead of yourself. Just slowly get there, okay? You'll get there, but just don't try and do everything. Do something, move over, move to the next thing, come back to it. So you see I did that brown color, and then I come over it with the orange, the same orange we're working on over here. Thanks. John says don't forget to smash the like button. I appreciate that, sir. Thank you. Notice when I hold the pastel pencil, I'm not doing it like this. That's too much pressure. Notice I'm holding it back here. And the reason why you hold it back here, because you with leverage wise, you can't be putting pressure on the point. So you're very lightly going over it. And the same thing with airbrush, you know, it's when you are really subtle, that's when the magic happens, right? So think of it that way. Get a little bit deeper with the orange here, and we will blend, of course. And let's take a look at her forehead. once again, we'll come in with this brownish color here. See how I'm sort of working one color on top of another? See, but in pastel, you don't have to be so worried about blue shift and going light over dark. You don't have to worry about that. You have to worry about not overloading the surface by, working slow, just like anything else. If you overload the surface with pastel, but if you work with my system here and the masonite with the marble dust mixture, which I will be having available on my website, you can have almost unlimited layers of pastel. So you don't run into problems that you would have with working in like papers, like pastel matte or terra slate or something like that. That you have to worry about overloading the surface. There's a finite amount of layers that you can put in, but not with my surface. My surface is something that was handed down from one generation of artist to another, and so I got that from my teacher. Of course I tweaked it for my own purposes, of course, but still the DNA is from my teacher, Harvey Ditterstein. So I'm going to just not blend just yet. I want to look for a little more of a fleshy color, right? So I'm going to attack this with a little bit more of a fleshy color. This is 1122-187, and let's bring this fleshy color over here. Actually, it has a lot more brown in it, I think. Okay, so here, once again, I could see this is much darker right here. And then this comes down. So let's see if I missed any question. She's glowing, looking nice, Tim. Thank you. I appreciate that, Nameless. Thank you. And, oh, Willie, you have a great night. Always a pleasure, my friend. Hope to see you on Saturday. And don't work too hard. I know you have to get up early in the morning, so you take it easy, my friend. Patty, you have a great night. You take care and be safe. Thank you, Patty. I appreciate that so much. And because you said that really nice compliment, I'm gonna have some water. Oh, that's good. No calories. Here's a nice fleshy color, 1122132, and I'm just going to put some of this flesh in here, just so we know it's flesh and not just this orangey color. And when we blend it, it'll look good. Trust me. Put this here, and then we can come in with. I love this like light yellow color. It's really cool. As soon as I find it, right? Here it is. This is 1122-103, and I can just dust this over and sort of pull out this beautiful light at the corner of her mouth. Little things like this really tell a lot. Tell a big story. Little things sometimes have big stories. Okay. Right over here. A little bit of light getting reflected around, bouncing around, and hitting over here. And let's come in with one of our packing peanuts. Oh, this is very orange over here. So let's come in with this orange. So today I want to talk about photography. How many photographers are out there who are painters and also photographers? I would love to hear, because I want to discuss photography today. So basically, ever since I started getting into studio photography and doing something like that, you know, learning about light, because photographers know about the science of light. They have to, because of where they, you know, put the flash and what the light does in certain angles and stuff like that, certain distances. And Brad and John, great. You guys are photographers, definitely. And so if you study photography, you're going to understand photographs. And we work from photos, don't we? And all of us want to get to that next level. And we've all seen those artists who basically, in 30 years, their work has not grown. And, you know, it gets to the point where, you know, they are doing, you know, they get to a certain level and, you know, and they don't. And I think if we as artists get into photography, I think it would really have a profound influence on what we do, because we work from photographs. So if we can take our own photographs, and that's great, we can understand what happened with the lighting. We were there, right? So if you were there, you can tell the story a lot better than if somebody else was there. So that's one of the things that, oh, so John Felber says photography 3D, 30 years teaching. Oh, that's great, John. That's fantastic. And Scott says not it. Um, and John says he was unable to pursue Airbrush due to making a living. Now he's retired. Oh, great. That's fantastic. So Nameless took a photo class, made a camera out of a shoebox. Oh, those are great. Foil and developed it in a dark room. Yeah, so it's the understanding of the light. And since I've been getting into photography, it has helped my painting. And it's helped my airbrush, because everything is connected. And once I get better with the photography, and as I learn more from photographers and what they do and are affected by them, it's really amazing. I can see how my understanding of light and dark and what it's doing and the physics of light, it's really helping me a lot. And I know that could help you all out there as well. That could take the work to that next level, that next echelon. So I recommend really getting into photography and, you know, learning how to shoot manual, right? With the exposure triangle, the shutter speed, the aperture, and the ISO. And really get into flash photography, because in flash photography, when you're doing it not just putting the flash on the hot shoe and then just going to town. No, not that. But, you know, in the way of getting rid of all the light in the room and then creating the light patterns with the flashes and strobes. I think that is definitely the key to turning that corner, especially artists who have been painting a while and just want to take things to that next level. A comprehensive study of photography and light and the science of light is going to really change what you do. That I guarantee. So, that's my gift to those who are watching the live stream today. Is if you want your work to get to the next level, wherever you are, whether you're an advanced, intermediate, or beginner, if you want to get to that next level, it's definitely in the study of light and what it does. Now, some might say, well, we're not painting light, we're painting people, or we're painting this, or we're doing landscapes, or we're doing this. But in reality, what's more important, the subject or the light? Because if the subject is not in the room or in the landscape is still there, the light's still there, right? If the car is not in the garage is still there. You would have an empty garage that you can paint. But let's say you're painting a car or anything, right? You're painting a person, and let's say you're painting that person, and you turn out the light, I mean no light at all, then that person's not there. So my question is, what's more important? Is it the light or the person that's more important? And it's easy to say that it's the person that's the light that's more important, because without the light, you wouldn't see the person at all. So basically, I'm saying all that to say this, that your main subject is the light. It's not the subject that we're painting. It's not a person, a cat, a dog. It's the light. And so when we take that work to that next level is because we're understanding the light in a more profound way. And the study of light is a lifelong pursuit, right? Once you start studying it, there's no finish line. But, you know, let's see how far we can get, right? That's exciting to me. I think that's exciting. So, you know, the study of light is crucial. And I hope whoever's out there grabs hold of this information. I'm not going to be talking about it too much, but today I'm feeling extra generous. Yes, exactly, John. The lighting describes the subject. And without the light, so you can take that light and you can move it around, right? You can move that light around, and that would change the subject, right? But if you move that person around, it doesn't change the light. So what's more important? Once I realized that the light was much more important than everything else, everything changed for me. And this is just this year when I really discovered this. Okay, so let's see. Let's see if we can work on her hair a little bit, okay? You can see I like moving around. It's kind of a golden auburn color here in her hair. And let's see if we can, so it's sort of like this kind of copper-like color here. So I'm not sure how I'm going to achieve it, but I'm going to just look at this, see if this does it. Let me see. Look at these over here. Okay, that's like a light orange, right? I think it's more of a light orange. Okay, a little bit closer. We don't have to arrive at the exact color right away. We'll get there. Right here. And John says, in life drawing, if you move the light even slightly, a entire room will scream. Yeah, of course. No doubt about it, John. Just the slightest. Have you ever used an opaque projector and that just moved just slightly? Changes everything. Come back with this dark here. There we go. Nothing too fancy. Just work this out slowly. Bring this over, right over here. So the pastel pencils will really free you up, trust me. Oh, Steve Johnson, how's it going? Oh, it's all pit time today. I'm working in different colored pit pastels, Mr. Johnson, which is really cool. And so you're going to see. So yeah, so this is basically just a whole different approach today. Right? I'm going to move this light just a bit over here. Let's see. So yeah, so it's oh, you're going to like this, Steve. It's this right here. It's the packing peanut. And so what you can do is you can actually get the ones that are soft and kind of oblong, like a tube. And then you can just go ahead and you can just very lightly blend that in. See that, sir? It really is cool. And you can get them, you get a whole big bag like that big at the UPS store for like $6, $7. It's really fantastic. So highly recommend it. But you see how we can just slowly build up her hair here? Remember, we're working on the helmet first, and then we're working on the hair. So right now, it's pretty much the helmet. And this comes over here. And so that really, really works. So I'm going to be surprising you very soon, Mr. Johnson. I'm not going to say anything, but you're going to get a surprise, okay? So, in the mail. So the ground is a masonite board or hardboard that you can get at Dick Blick. It's 11 by 14. And what I do is I have a combination of marble dust, gesso, and water. And I mix that up and then I apply it with a paint roller several times, sanding in between to get this amazing textural surface. I'm going to try and lighten this up to see if I could show you. Let's see if I could focus up close. Can I? So you can see it has this sort of skin-like texture to it. And I really love it for pastel. And I even do airbrush paintings with it because it is just fantastic. I think it's this light above here that's kind of throwing things off. Okay. I like to arrive at the color. I don't really mix the color perfectly. I leave that for other artists. I just like doing layers and relaxing and taking my time and getting there eventually. Now with my surface that I use in pastel, I can get unlimited amounts of layers. If you use something like pastel matte or something like that, or your store-bought ampersand, or what is the other brand? Pastel. Ampersand makes a pastel board, and you don't get unlimited. But with this, really, I have never gotten. I've been working for a lot of years. I've never got to the point where I couldn't put more and more pastel layers on top of this. Yes, it's very porous. It has the feeling of bone, right? So think of like a cutler bone if you ever had a bird, you know, where they sharpen their beaks. So it feels like a cutler bone. And it's a really great surface to work with. I mean, it's a real pleasure when you're working in pastel. Hey Ez, how you doing? Ezekiel, good to see you. Ah, thank you. I appreciate that. It has been a while. And thank you. I appreciate that, sir. So how is that airbrush that you purchased from me? Still working well? I see you're doing great work, so that's good. And then we can just lighten that up. That's just a little too strong. Ah, very cool, Ez. I appreciate that. Always a pleasure to see you, sir. Yeah, we know each other in the airbrush world for quite some time now. And Mr. Steve Johnson, what are you working on right now, sir? I always love hearing about and seeing your work. I know you were doing some really cool pet portraits at one time. You see how this hair is softening up little by little? So it did look really rough, I give you guys that. But little by little, we're bringing hair under control. Same thing right here. So we want to kind of combine these edges. Let me zoom in, make sure I have this sharp. This is the best way to see how sharp it is. I'll just zoom in, and then I could focus. That's really in focus now. Look at that. Bam. Okay. Good. Okay. That's nice and in focus. See, pastels is really freeing. It's, you know, so we did a airbrush underpainting, and now we're doing our color in pastels. And this is like the best of all worlds here. And this is how I started in airbrushing, using it as an underpainting for my pastel paintings. And then I kind of fell in love with airbrushing about 12 years ago. And, you know, and the airbrush guys and girls were so cool, and I talked a lot to them. Drew Blair, Cass Fuller, a lot of those cats in the early days. They were really great to me. The late Steve Driscoll, wonderful, inspirational guy. People like Corey St. Clair, Jonathan Pantaleone. They all David Morton, they all kind of were like, what's this pastel guy wanting to do airbrushing for? And so they really were puzzled by it. And I am an established pastel painter. So to go into a whole new medium at my age was not exactly normal. So, and it's funny, at this point, some people don't know that I do pastels, right? So I think that's hilarious. See how we're kind of establishing the hair, but no, right? We're not going crazy, we're taking our time. Got plenty of time to get really specific. Ah, thank you. John says she's looking absolutely amazing. I appreciate that. And Steve says he's completely out of the box at the moment, burnt out on the animals, waiting for the fire to ignite. Okay, that's a good place to be. Just you know, keep searching, and one of the things I do recommend is read books that are some books that are really great, such as autobiographies of artists and autobiographies of painters that you admire, and just get involved in that. Some really good movies on painters that's I really admire, and some really good books, right, at the library. Books on Camille Pissarro and Edouard Manet, those guys, and I think that would really help my friend. So definitely, I'm gonna thin her neck a little bit. See that? I think I love that. Yes, definitely. It's good to switch on and off, right? I mean, I've made several paradigm shifts in my art, and airbrush being one of them, from working in pastel. And I've been doing pastel, I mean, mostly airbrush for the past, like I said, past 12 years. And now I'm starting to get back into pastel and continuing with the airbrush. I'm very excited about the airbrush, of course, and the inks, and and my Extreme Patriot arrow. So 2 Extreme Patriot arrows were delivered today. One to Jesus in Georgia and another to Carlo in Italy. I have one that was just purchased over the weekend. I'm waiting on parts for that. I'm shipping out another one to England. I mean, this airbrush is really taking off. And the reason is because of the detail that you can get with this little guy for only $149.95. And not only that, is that it's totally, how do I say, these airbrushes are 100% tuned. I check everything. I usually work on them for 6 hours to make sure everything is perfect. They're airtight. There's no leaks anywhere. Check the valve. Change the trigger. So for $149.95, you'll get an airbrush that feels different than anything you have felt. You'll get an airbrush that increases in performance that other airbrushes don't. One thing I realize is that other airbrushes do not increase in performance, but this one does with time, because as it gets worked in, it just feels good. It's the metals and everything. Believe me, you're going to really love it. And the fact that this needle comes out so far and it's tapered more than any needle out there is really the secret. So it's not a secret, I just told you, but it really is one of the reasons. Yes, Brad says they are broken perfectly. Yes. So oh, Chris, I did not charge you $249.95. How you doing, Chris? No, you got the $149 like everyone else, my good friend. I would not do that to my good friend there. So yes, Brad's getting one. Brad just purchased another one, and that's shipping out this week as well. I'm just waiting on the parts that are shipping out from Badger. They should be here on Friday. So with that, I have 4 more. Oh, always great to see you, Chris. And 4 more to sell. So if anyone's interested, jump on that, because I have 4 more that I'm assembling and testing over the weekend. So let me know. I could hold that for you. If you want an airbrush that is different than anything you have ever tried before, and if you want to feel something different and just have an airbrush that is going to work for you perfectly and just get better over time, and also read the testimonials. I'm going to be putting that on my website of what people say all around the world of that airbrush. It's really great. So that's really cool. So Chris, how you doing? Any new projects going on, Chris? I know you're doing some really amazing things. Chris is getting ready to become a full-time airbrush artist soon, in the next year, couple of years or so. So that's exciting. I love that. So now he's working 2 jobs, his airbrush almost full-time, and his regular job full-time, and that's exciting. I love to hear that. So that's really good. And yeah, it's funny. Brad the other day in class was saying that, I said go in there with the pencil, and he was like, nope, I feel better going in with the airbrush. And he was right. He went in there with the airbrush and had total control. In conjunction with the inks and that airbrush, it just doesn't have a parallel. And that's, to me, that's really exciting that it doesn't have a parallel, and that makes me very happy. So right here we have some negative space. So I have this white here, and what I'm going to do is I'm just going to test this out, and let's see how it works. We're just going to come here, and you see we can pull out that negative shape there, right? Which is really cool. See that? See how we can add in those negative shapes? And I think that's really wild. See right here, we can come in, create those negative shapes. Negative shapes are just as important as the positives, trust me, in describing form. Oh, that's cool. Chasing the bad people around. Well, we need you there, Chris, to do that. So thank God for the men and women in blue. Thank you. I really love how we can just sort of really sculpt everything here. Such a great feeling. Not as easy to do this in Airbrush, that's for sure. I love Airbrush, but every medium has its advantages and disadvantages, am I right? Once again, we're using the white for this. And since we have the white, let's sculpt a little bit here. Sculpt in some of these light shapes here. Let's zoom in on her mouth. Go. And right here. And of course I'll be blending this in, going back and forth. Right over here. And of course we'll zoom out. There we go. So you see, little by little we're getting there. And let's continue on the hair up top here. Just a little indication, nothing crazy. Just some of the large shapes in the direction of the hair. And it's this orangey color. Just these large shapes here. Plenty of time to get specific, right? So let's not worry about that. Okay, we have some information coming over here, like so. Let's work on that. So now we have something to build on, right? With the hair, it's not just this voided out thing going there. And we're going to come back in, you know, maybe with the pencil and then the airbrush, working on some of these outside hairs. And then we have to think about, okay, what are we going to do for the background, right? So what I'm looking at the background, and maybe I could, so that's the 24 millimeter. Let me change this with the 10 to 18 lens here. So I'll be right back. So with my Canon 10 to 18, it's a little different, right? So let's, I'm going to turn this camera off momentarily. And I'm just going to take this off. We're going to put on the 10 to 18. Lens cap. Now it's going to be totally different. I'm going to have to adjust everything. So let me put this 24 millimeter 2.8 pancake lens right here. Highly recommend it. One of the best buys. If you have a Canon APS-C sensor camera. I have the S3. It's also the 250D, I believe it's also called in Europe. Let's see what it looks like. Wow, so you see the difference here, which is really good. So now you can see a lot more, which is great. Now it's a 5.6 when it's zoomed in. So I'm going to have to basically change the ISO. So the ISO right now is at 200. We're going to push it to 4, right? And that's good. And so the shutter speed, we're going to bring that to, nope, let's change the ISO to 800. Okay, so it's going to go to ISO. And this is that exposure triangle that I talk about. So now since we're at 24 frames per second, we can bring that to 50 frames per second. And so now we can darken this just a bit, and we'll do that with the aperture. So the aperture right now is 5.0. Let's bring that up to 6.3. And now let's turn off the autofocus. Okay, so now we can zoom in, and you can pretty much see all of her right now, which is good. Thank you, John. I appreciate that. Ed says, yes, definitely. Thank you. Learning from the greats. Oh, thank you. I appreciate that. And thanks for subscribing, Ez, okay? And I love your work and can't wait to see more of it. And thank you, John, for that wonderful compliment there. So right now you're looking at this. So I don't always have to stay, you know, true to the photograph, you know, especially stuff like background, but I kind of like this orangey thing over here. So I'm going to take this color right here, and I'm just going to bring this orange up because I kind of like it. I'm just going to bring this orange up here. Let's see. We can see if I can make it a little bit darker so you can see. So right over here, I'm just coming in with an orange. And then a little bit of that brown. So whenever you're working in paint, whenever you're painting, right, you always want to make sure that you keep all the colors. When you're working in a figure, you want to keep all of the colors in the same family. So if everything is, you know, if the flesh color is this warm kind of glowy orange color, you want that to be everywhere. If you start changing what the colors are and what family of colors they are within the same figure, especially when you're doing a full figure, it's going to look disjointed and disunified. So it's so important to make sure that it stays within the same family of colors. Okay, fresh peanut, and let's go ahead and see how this looks. And we can always adjust this right here. And you can see it's a little bit of a ruddy color, but that's the thing, we arrive at the color. We don't have to be perfect and first shot. I like, so with this surface I can do unlimited layers of color, which is cool. See, if I zoom out, you can see everything that I'm doing. And let me come over here. See how all the colors are very unified? And of course I'm going to look at colors and I'm going to say, well, this is a little more orange here, this is a little more yellow there. But that's the beauty of working in color, whether it's airbrush or whatever. When I always arrive at the color, and that's what I tell my students, is to always arrive at the color. Never try and solve the mystery of the color right away. It doesn't really serve us when we do that. See how I move around? So next week, this Saturday, we're continuing this pastel on Saturday with the pastel class. The pastel live stream on Saturday. So check that out. And next week, we're going to start a new project, a new portrait in airbrush. So I just needed more time to get it prepared and really pick which one I'm doing and everything. See if I can lighten this up a tad. There we go. Like I said, just the 1 second rule. Just, continue looking and developing. Worrying about anatomy That's crucial. Oh, thanks. So, as says the inks are very cooperative, the best that he's worked with. That means a lot to me, sir. Thank you. I love making the inks, and I love how how the artists, the airbrush artists, we all have so much more control with them. Brings the airbrushes to life, right? Because they're already there. So many people always wonder what's the proper dilution. And I always say, if you use my inks, you'll know the proper dilution for everything, whether it's the paints or for proper dilution for Createx, proper dilution for Golden, because it's the perfect dilution to go through the airbrush. And it doesn't matter what it is, inks, acrylics, watercolor, the proper dilution is always the same, because the airbrush is what is the tolerance, right? So it's not anything else. So as long as you know that, and then of course 25 psi, if you have the proper dilution, then you would know 25 psi no matter what it is, because it's the proper dilution. So you never really have to go above unless you're doing something like, you know, fabrics or something like that, fabric paint or something thicker. But you can always layer it if you're working on a board or metal panel. So the proper dilution, I always feel, is pretty much the secret is in the inks. Bring this up. And of course, let's come over here. And so I'm just going to sharpen this color right here. Let's see how that goes. So this is good to see this happening here. I'm just going to fix this sharpener and see if that solves the problem. Pastel pencils are notoriously difficult to sharpen. Okay, so the trick is when they do get caught up, there's a little piece in there, so we want to make sure that we solve that. There's a good opportunity to empty it. And a lot of times you can take like a little razor blade or something, and you can see if you can get that little piece that's in there out. And you just need to work that out. A lot of times you can see it, so I can see a little couple of pieces of orange. I don't recommend a razor blade, that could break and hurt you, but an old needle, that doesn't sound too bad. And you see it, you can even break it up. And that's what I'm doing. And you can hear it. It's out. And we just make sure. Yep. So it looks like whatever was impeding it is out. So before I put that back on my L bracket, I'm just going to test it out really fast. Let's see. Now it's the orange over here that I wanted to sharpen. Let's see how this works. Let's take a look. Not bad, but it's still breaking. But it's the pastel pencil. It's not the sharpener's fault. Keep our fingers crossed. Let's try this again. I think it broke in there. So that's the plight of working with pastel pencils. They do break. So what is the next thing? Just with a razor blade. So be careful. You have the razor blade going away from you. It seems like the Pit pastels sharpen a lot better than the credit color. But that doesn't mean that one's better than the other. And you have to be tenacious. So once I have some semblance of a point, I'll just come over here with some sandpaper. So be tenacious. Don't let anything stop you. So I'll just sharpen this. I'll zoom in here. Come over here. And you'll see I sharpen it. So I get a certain point, and then I'll just get a point that I want. So like I said, be tenacious. Don't give up. Don't let the pencil win. Okay. So now I forgot what I was doing. So let's come over here. So why did I need that orange? Let's think. Okay, so we were working over here. We needed this orange, and we needed this orange over here. And over here. Air Todd says, Tim, have you thought about airbrushing Betty White? Good. That sounds pretty cool. And so that's interesting. Chris says he was going to ask me how I sharpen them. When I do mine, they seem to snap. They do. Sometimes you get lucky. It seems like these are a lot easier. Let's see if that is correct. Pit pastel seems to be a lot easier to sharpen. Let's test it. Let's see. Yeah, see, the Pit pastels sharpen really good. It's just the credit colors. They're just a little more brittle inside, but that's pretty much. So, you know, with that pencil sharpener is really good. It's going to help you a lot, but it's not a cure-all, that's for sure. Betty White would be a great subject. Thanks for that suggestion there, Mr. Todd. She was amazing. So we did fight it and did get to use this pastel pencil anyway, even though it kept breaking on us, you know. Okay, need more packing. So these packing peanuts are great. You don't want to use ones over and over again because you'll just be making mud. So you just use some. You need some more. You go to your stash, get a handful, and pow, just like that. And you're replenished. Very cool. So now when I sharpened that pencil, now I have to go ahead and vacuum tomorrow. I vacuum today. Sometimes I don't have to vacuum every day, but after today I do. So Mr. Chris, earlier I was talking about photography. Have you ever gotten into photography? Oh, you haven't? You should. I think you would really love it. We should talk about it. Let me see if we can, maybe I can give you some ideas that might inspire you. Ooh, she looks like she kind of has curlers in her hair. Let's get them out of there. She would not be happy with me. You know, I have yet to have a celebrity see a picture that I have done of them. And I hope one day it happens, but other people I have seen do it, and the celebrity's like, oh, that looks awesome, that's great. Not me, not yet. We'll see. That noise, nail on its chalkboard. Oh, I'm sorry, but that's part of the pastel process. Sorry about that, my friend. Especially the way I work is that, you know, I work by rubbing it in, but I'm sorry that, you know, I'll try. Yeah, there's no way around it, Nameless. But that does get to you. But I think you'll be better, Nameless, if when you're working, I think when you start working in this technique, it won't bother you so much because it will be what you do, right? Hearing someone else do it, I think could be a lot more annoying than when you're doing it. So I really hope you try this technique, guys, you know, with the airbrush and the pastels. It's real inexpensive. You can get the pastels for a song, like $100 for a set of 60, and you're ready to go. Oh, I have posted on Twitter, even the last one. Oh, thanks, Brad. I appreciate that. Brad said she's looking great. So, Todd, I did post on Twitter, even the last one, Malia Keeling, but nothing, you know. But I'm going to be tenacious, you know, and courageous, and I'm just going to keep going. Regardless of how it looks, I'm keep going. You know, I teach, you know, courage and tenacity, and if I don't have that, then, you know, what right do I have to teach it, right? So I am sticking to my guns. So we're in the last 2 minutes, guys. Thank you for sticking with me and hanging out with me on the live stream. There's 7 of us here, so thank you, everybody, the 7 that are here. I really appreciate, you know, watching it this long and this far. It means more to me than you know, and thank you for the super stickers today. I really appreciate it. It means everything to me. You know, sometimes you wonder, you know, financially, can I make it? And I'm not saying that to arouse pity or anything like that. It's just, it's really nice when people, with the Patreon, buy the airbrush and everything like that. It really, oh, I'm sorry to hear that you're in an airbrush slump, but let's see if we can get you out of that, okay? And Brad, have a great night. Take care, my friend. And, buying the airbrushes and the inks and everything really helped to keep me going. Especially this is my only source of sustenance, right? This is it. I don't have any other form of income or anything like that. So, it gets kind of rough. So thank you for everyone to help out. And thank you for those who can't afford to help out. But you know what? That's great, because the people that can help, enable everyone to enjoy this. The free art lessons, free inspiration, right? And that's what I hope to continue doing. I really do. And I hope that I'm able to. And I will be courageous, and I will keep going forward, like I always teach everyone to be courageous and to keep fighting. So it's 11:30, so we made it to yet another live stream. Thank you so much, everybody. So I'm happy with how she's looking right now. So I have the 10-18 zoom lens, so you can see I could zoom in on her. And you see we started doing the wall and everything like that. And we did some airbrush techniques, some paintbrush techniques, pastel. So this is really coming along. Thanks, John. I appreciate that so much. And everyone, you have a great night. God bless. And really a pleasure to see you Saturday at 8 o'clock. So if you're not on the mailing list, go ahead and send me a message. I'll put you on the mailing list, and we'll get you an alert. So Saturday at 8, and then next Wednesday at 9:30 is going to start the new full Airbrush India ink painting. Take care, Chris. Good to see you, everybody. So Nameless, good to see you, my friend, and everybody, Ez, and everybody that was here. Thank you so much, Steve Johnson. Let's see, Steve Leahy, Colorline, which is Roy, and Willie, and Patty, and Honey, and Mr. Kennedy. And those of you who are watching this stream in recording, make sure you go ahead and subscribe, okay? And go on Ink Flingers, check out some of the things there. I think you might find some things that will make your airbrushing a lot easier. Have a great night, everybody.